Hey, good. Long time no speak, man. It's been like forever since I last seen you guys.
Exactly.
Been
That
a
hour
long
and a half
time.
ago.
Been a long time. Bart, one of the things about yesterday, we just had Joe Klecko on earlier, and some people say it, some people write it. There's this lingering thought that what happened yesterday was kind of the tail end of the Rex Ryan, era, a little bit of a lawless environment. You know Rex, you love Rex, you played for Rex. You buy that?
No, not at all, man. I think he's getting it. They still want to put blame on Rex because, it's a lot of his players, which is draft pick. But no, I mean, this is something, isolated incident between two players that had a dispute.
What about
I can't recall any of these type of incidents or moments under the Rex Ryan era. I think everybody got along. He created an environment that was more of a family environment, and guys were able to talk out. And Rex brought in some great leaders. I'm not speaking about myself, but he had high character guys, I believe, there. He's responsible for Muhammad Wickerson. A lot of guys, David Harris was already there. But, we never had any of these issues because we had strong leadership, and we knew that we were all going in the same direction.
what about the guys who could potentially be those leaders now? How are they going to handle this, or how should they best handle this going forward?
Well, the issue is, like a lot of the leaders on the team now really aren't vocal leaders. You talk about Reeves, he's a tremendous leader, but he's not a vocal guy. The Briggershaw is a tremendous leader, but he's not a vocal guy. Every once in a while, you need somebody that's willing to speak and to call guys out. Environment. And it's tough when you don't have that guy. I mean, from everything I understood last year, a guy who came in and kind of became that voice, that vocal leader was Willie Colon. He's a guy that's respected, by everybody in the locker room. And, even Muhammad Wilkerson, he's not a vocal guy either. He's a very quiet guy. So, that's tough to answer because I haven't been in that locker room in 3 years. But somebody's going to have to step up and say, hey, guys, we got to pull this thing all in one direction because we have an opportunity here. This team is built to win now. In a couple of years, they're going to have to make some decisions on some young players and moving forward. And some of the old guys like the Briggershaw, Mango, David Harris, even Cromartie, those guys be making their way out.
Same with Marshall.
Young leadership now, guys who are willing to be vocal because they're going to change that nucleus of that team in the upcoming seasons.
Marshall's not a kid. You're right. To your point, the window, I'm not going to say it's a 1-year window, but it's certainly not a 4 or 5 year window.
This reminds me of the same situation I was in. It's kind of crazy because they got out of salary cap hell, so to speak, and now they're potentially right back in it. This team is built to have to win in the next couple of years before they make tough decisions again.
I'm talking to Bart Scott,
like they made with myself, Chris Jenkins, Alan Faneca, Damon Woody.
I remember those days well. It's Bart Scott. By the way, Bart's going to be on with Gio and Jones every Friday, starting September 11, a couple of days before the conventional start of the season. 7:40 Eastern every Friday, and then 6 to 8 Eastern with our guy D.A. At night. So, Bart, they're putting you to work, huh?
I'm telling you, man, making you earn that paycheck this year at CBS.
Hey, well, I'm trying to catch up with Boone. Like I said, he has a great job. I can't let the old man outwork me.
I'm telling you, man, he's everywhere, and so are you, and that's a good thing. But and lost in this Geno Smith news is the fact that Roger Goodell and Tom Brady are in court today. What do you expect's going to happen with this whole Deflategate drama saga that's gone way too long?
Well, I didn't think that Goodell was ever going to change his position because he has absolute power. But I think now that another judge outside said it has to get settled, I think they're going to have to come to some type of compromise. And both sides are going to have to give a bit. I mean, I can see it maybe coming down to 2 games, but Tom Brady cannot deny that he didn't do anything wrong and that he wasn't cooperative in helping with the investigation. So even with that, under the letter of the law underneath our CBA, not being cooperative and being deceptive is a 2-game suspension at least.
Yeah, it's interesting when I look at how Roger Goodell is perceived. And I think a lot of people have changed their perception of him over the last few weeks. But you see it like at the draft, guys come out, they're so excited to be in the league. I'm here. I finally giving them hugs and stuff.
What up, Commish?
What do you think the ongoing perception amongst the players will be of Roger Goodell? Because I don't know if it matters, but I think it's an interesting dynamic in our game.
Well, it depends. I think it depends on your interaction with him because if you meet him, he's a very likable guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's fined you, if you have to go to the principal's office, you're going to have a different perception of him. And listen, the players give them plenty. They give him plenty. The NFL's a gift that keeps on giving, man. You can't make up some of these things that guys get themselves involved in. And, he has a tough job. I recognize that. But, you collectively bargained this. I guarantee next CBA, this is going to be the first thing on the docket is his power.
Yeah, it has to be.
What's interesting is now the owners, owner like Kraft, who's the biggest supporter, is a guy that's banging on the table like, hold up, this guy has too much power. But the players have been saying it for years, and the owners never had an issue with it. There's no fun until the rabbit gets the gun, so to speak, right?
It's true. It's a good analogy. It's Bart Scott, NFL analyst, CBS Sports, NFL Today. All right, Bart, we're obviously a national show, so we've got listeners all over the country stretched out through all the states here. Give us one team that you think will make a big jump, favorably this year, and one team that you think is about to really regress that's been pretty good for a couple of seasons.
Well, of course, the obvious is 49ers are a mess, right? They can't get out of their own way. That's a no-brainer. But I think if you look within that same division, my surprise team is the St. Louis Rams. I mean, you talk about a team that can flat out get after the passer. They have I think the best line, the best set of pass rushers in the NFL. And, I think now with Nick Foles that he's going to provide just enough stability so that they can start to win some of these games they lost. Last year, this team was in a great position until they were down to their fourth quarterback. They were in position to win a lot of games. They're talented at the tight end position, receiver position, and now they're creating a lot of depth at the running back position. But this team fears nobody defensively.
Yeah. You talk about the running back position. When you were in studio here earlier in our newsroom, we talked a little bit about Ray Rice. Now, you were with him with the one season down in Baltimore, and there's talk that the Cleveland Browns may or talking about bringing him in. You think that's happening? You think he still's got enough in him? Because the narrative is that one season where he rushed for 3.1 yards per carry, and then you throw in all the other stuff on the outside with the domestic violence thing, he's not worth the risk in the NFL, even though he's only 28 years old.
Let me tell you something. You talk about a guy who had one bad season in the NFL during his entire career. You talk about a guy that's not just a one-trick pony. He's not just a slasher, but he also can catch the ball. He's averaging 50, 60 catches a year as well. He's tremendous in the screen game. And also, you got to have multiple running backs. You got to have depth, in this league. But, I'm happy that it's coming from a team like Cleveland, because Mike Peck knows him as a person. And like he says, 5 minutes of his life, 5 bad minutes of his life changed the whole narrative about Ray Rice.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Why do you think that? Because a lot of guys know him, and BT and I have been talking about this over the last, I don't know how many, year and a half or so. I knew him since he was 17 years old, and yes, this one moment is defining him, but there are a lot of guys, coaches, who know him well and have not given him a chance. Why is that?
Well, you got to think it takes a powerful coach and an organization that's equipped to handle the PR mess, right? When Andy Reid took Michael Vick, who could say anything about Andy Reid? He was a fixture in that community. He was a fixture in that organization. He had been successful. You think about a guy like Rex. He's at a new job. Chuck Pagano, job is on the line. Doesn't have a job extension. He can't make a splash, controversial decision like that. Mike Pettin, he's new there. They had some success, but it's been a PR mess with Johnny Manziel there. So that's still tough as well. I mean, come on, man. The Arizona Cardinals are bringing in Chris Johnson, who's been on decline. He has a bullet wound.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know how you go that route and not say, hey, let me at least bring Ray Rice in and see what he's all about.
Yeah.
Since that incident, those horrible 5 minutes, he has done everything that he can do in his power.
Yeah.
And you talk about a kid that really only has 1,400 carries in his career. So he's a young 28.
Yeah.
He didn't play last year, so it's really the same difference as AP. He didn't take any tread off the tires, and when you do that, you allow all those, and Tiki knows,
yep.
It
it's a function of carries, man.
To heal up.
It's a function of carries for a running back, and he does not deserve to be a pariah that he's become.
Absolutely. So I wish somebody would sit up there, and I think now that, he's becoming a sympathetic figure, other people are speaking out like, hey, he deserves another shot. I think it gives teams the ability to say, you know what, we can bring this guy in because, maybe we'll have to deal with the PR mess for the first couple of days, then it'll blow over because the national sentiment is that, hey, this guy deserves another chance. Okay, and we're all about the comeback story. And what better voice to have in your locker room than a guy that had it all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He had it all. He was riding high. He had endorsements. He had fresh off two years off a Super Bowl ring and lost it all in one bad decision.
Yeah.
You want that type of guy in your organization to be an example as well. That's why a lot of times people brought Dante Stallworth in so he can tell his story.
Yeah, and that's when players listen, not at these, symposiums where somebody's up there in a suit telling them what happens when you invest with the wrong guy or you go home with the wrong girl. Nobody listens to that, but a peer.
Real life.
I'm with you. Bart, great spot. Every Friday, starting on September 11th, Gio and Jones, 7:40 Eastern. And then every Thursday, 6 to 8 Eastern with DA right here on CBS Sports Radio. Of course, the NFL Today. All right, Bart, be well, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.